What's up, you guys? Trevor here. I want to listen to audiobooks, but it's too much money. I hear a lot of people say this, so I decided to show you how you can get just about any audiobook for free. But before we start, I'm going to have to ask you to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Audiobooks are a huge time saver. You can listen to them in the car, at the gym, or at work. But most of the time, they cost money, and that can be a real problem for some people. Cough, cough. Like the person watching this video. You can cram a huge amount of reading, learning, and if you're really into books, fun, without taking extra time out of your day to sit there and do nothing just to read that book that someone told you to check out. If you ask me, listening to picture books is where it's at. But really though, I do have a few totally free books at the end of this video that I highly recommend trying out. Now, I know this way of listening to free audiobooks is technically cheating, and I will get to the other free ways in just a second. But one of the easiest ways to get free audiobooks is with Audible. You can use their 30-day free trial on any one of your 13 Gmail accounts you've made over the years. Now, I'm going to let you know that I am not saying that you should open more than one account with multiple email addresses for unlimited free trials, because that would be bad, and you don't want to end up in prison, like Prison Mike.
I'm Prison Mike! You know why they call me Prison Mike?
Do you really expect us to believe you're somebody else?
Do you really expect me to not push you up against the wall?
Now, if you're looking for a more hassle-free way to get unlimited free audiobooks, then this one's for you. It's not totally hassle-free, but it's pretty close. Not only does it have free audiobooks, but it has free reading books too. The app is called Libby, and it's actually a part of your local library. Yeah, those places with all the free books has an app. On the Libby app, it allows you to listen to the free audiobooks and read the free digital books after you check them out. You see, even though audiobooks are digital files, the libraries treat them like any other book, and they only have a few copies, and only letting one person check it out at a time. So, depending on the size of the library, how popular the book is, and how many audiobooks are in stock, you might see different waiting times for different libraries. When you launch the app, you first have to add your library card. Then, pick a library on the map to see what audiobooks are located at different locations. So, if one place has a long waiting time, you can just change locations to a different library and see if they have a shorter one. Once you find the book that you're looking for, you just tap borrow, and you can start listening right away. You normally have about 14 days to listen to it before it expires and gets returned to the library for other users to check out. But that should be plenty of time to finish your book, as the app lets you listen to it at different speeds. Even though you do have to wait sometimes and only have a limited amount of time to listen to the book that you wanted to listen to, it's still free and will save you about $15 per book unless you pay monthly. There's also another app that works just like this one called Overdrive. It has about 30,000 books and audiobooks on it. It works about the same way as Libby, but it has a slightly different feel to it, so if one app kind of confuses you, you can just try out the other. Since I'm pretty much a finance-only YouTube channel, there are a few books I highly recommend checking out. Most, if not all of them, are free using apps like Libby and Overdrive. And for the ones that aren't free, you can just use Amazon's 30-day free trial. These books have helped me wrap my mind around how I can overhaul my personal finances, as well as starting new businesses. This one is an old one, but it's still a very relevant book, called The Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. No, wait, that's the wrong one. This book's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book shows you how the way you think can impact your job, business, and personal life. It gives example after example of real-life, true stories on setting your mind up to find and reach your goals. The book takes you through dozens of successful people's lives and shows you what they had in common. There are also lots of interesting ideas in this book. For example, did you know that most people aren't successful until they're older? In fact, most success doesn't come until after you've reached 40 years old. So, assuming you're young, if you start learning this now, you will be loads ahead of everyone else your age when it comes to how successful you are in life. It's really about convincing yourself to become wealthy. It outlines the steps that you need to take and the steps that you need to avoid. So in my opinion, it's a great listen. The next financial book that I recommend is called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's kind of an example storybook, back in the days when everything was written in papyrus font. Or, if you ask the History Channel, back in the days when we had aliens.
For ancient astronaut theorists, perhaps the strongest evidence that Osiris may have been a robot.
Anyway, it's a pretty entertaining story, with loads of financial lessons told through parables. And they're told in a way that's almost spelled out for you, so it's pretty easy to understand. It actually uses some of the principles found in Think and Grow Rich. It's pretty easy to listen to, understand, and has a timeless message. In my opinion, this book should be required reading for life, as it really gets you to think about life and finances differently. It shows you that you already have the ability to grow your wealth from what you already have. Sometimes a parable like this is what people really need to wrap their mind around things. Long story short, it's a great book, and I recommend it. The next book that I recommend is called The Book on Property Investing by fellow YouTuber Brandon Turner. It has a lot of good info for learning how you can flip, renovate, and rent houses. He goes into detail explaining all the steps and some of the problems you'd encounter by owning real estate. Brandon literally educates you on almost every aspect of real estate investing. Nearly every real estate question that I could possibly think of was answered in this book. This book is a great place to start if you're ever considering renting or owning real estate in the future. Now, before the last one, I want to list a few honorable mentions. ABCs of Real Estate Investing by Ken McElroy. I think I'm pronouncing that right. 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Loopholes of Real Estate by Grant Sutton. And finally, Smashing That Like Button by the YouTube Algorithm. Honestly, this one's my favorite. Alright, so the last book on my recommended list is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It takes you through a story of him as a kid growing up and tells how he had two father figures that had vastly different views on money. One being more of a typical viewpoint on money and the other with a business mindset, even through tough times. The book is really easy to understand. The message Robert gives is good and can help you change your mindset to be more financially independent. Overall, I really like this book and recommend it to anyone interested in the idea of business or real estate. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment, even if it's something random in the comment section. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And if you like these types of videos, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.